Striving to obtain the American dream is a reality. However, it's going to cost you. And Abe, you've got 3 rules to follow when it comes to achieving our American dream in retirement. I'm Heather Branch. This is Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services, host of the Retirement Key, financial advisor, retirement planner, and here to share with us the knowledge that so many are seeking. Retirement has become complex. But we all want to do it one day. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, have to do it once, right?
That's right.
So, in effort to obtain this American dream and the idea that it's going to cost you, this new report by Investopedia found that cost that price point $4.4 million, Abe. Breaking that down, retirement's going to cost you $1.6 million. Home ownership's going to cost you $930,000. Raising 2 children will cost you $832,000. I'm not surprised. I am surprised that's not the most expensive of the items here. However, and then other expenses, think vacations, wedding, funerals, pets. That's going to cost you an average $268,000.
My goodness.
With retirement alone making up nearly 40% of this American dream ideology, according to this research. Thinking about what we can do proactively, because, I mean, one of the most common questions that you get from people, right? How much money do I need to retire?
It is a very common question.
Yeah, well, we all want to know. Just because we wish for it to be so simple as $2 million, but it's not that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about how you figure that out and these 3 ideas that you have that you believe people should follow in order to get to this place.
Sure. Well, first off, before retirement, you want to do everything you can do to save as much money as possible. So number one, you need to be maxing out 401ks, TSPs, IRAs. Man, as with as much time in front of retirement as possible, you know, the longer you can do that, the more that'll all compound and defer and grow for you. Number 2, to have a really good idea, and this is just simple stuff, but this is what you have to go through to determine if you can retire. You need to know what your expenses are, how much you're spending, and what you truly need every single month net of taxes in your bank account. We just had a couple come in recently for an annual review, and I was like, Mike, I just want to confirm what you and your wife need every single month to live comfortably. You know, when we first started meeting together, it was $7,000 a month. And he's like, hey, you never know. You won't believe what the number is now. And I went through all the expenses and I just can't believe it. I mean, we're helping to support our daughters and we travel to Cape Cod back and forth a lot. Now we have a granddaughter. They had a cat that almost passed away that cost them $7,000 over the holidays.
Oh, no.
The $7,000 a month is now $13,000 a month. So while they told me
Almost
years
doubled.
ago that they could live comfortably on 7, what they really need is $13,000 a month net. That's almost more than double what they told me. Now, fortunately, their retirement value is around $5 million. The accumulated amount is around $5 million.
Okay.
And it's going to be enough for them to retire successfully, but not everyone spends $13,000 a month. Some people spend $5,000 a month.
Right.
Some people have all their bills covered by pensions and Social Security.
Right.
So leading up to retirement, and especially in those last few years of retirement, you have got to really want to be able to max out IRAs, 401ks, TSPs, including the catch-up provision, to save as much as you possibly can before you retire and you turn that big bucket of money into income. Know what your expenses are. Know what you're truly spending. Don't just give us like an average amount of money you think it might be. Oh, I need $10,000, $15,000 a month. Truly go through that budget for the last year or two and find out what you're really spending, and be honest with yourself about what that amount is, because that's what you're spending, and that's what you need to create in retirement if you want the wages to end. Finally, you need to have an income plan. Number 3, an income plan is going to put together all the pieces of income that you would have in retirement. Now, what might those pieces be? You might have some annuities. You might have pensions. You might have VA disability, military pension, teacher pension, Social Security checks if you're married, 2 of them usually, 1 if you're single, obviously, and then all of your money that you've got saved and your assets. You might have income from real estate investments. 401k, TSP, IRAs, non-IRAs, brokerage accounts. What are all these values? Where are they? What are you invested in? And then we can kind of determine, like, hey, if you've got $2 million, we can probably safely generate $60,000 to $80,000 a year of income per year for the rest of your life, probably, if we're smart about this. What is that?
Right.
3 to 4% of your nest egg.
Okay.
We can't be taking 10% out of your nest egg every single year, because we're probably not going to make 10% every single year.
Right.
And if you pull 10 and you made 5, you're already in the hole by 5.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense stuff. But these are things that have to be run, or really should be run, alongside a financial professional who truly deals and specializes in income distribution planning and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So to go back to your question from just a few minutes ago, you asked, and it's a common question, Heather, how much is enough to retire comfortably? Oftentimes we'll get from people here in our office, hey, but like, how are we doing? Like, compared to all your other clients, compared to all the other people coming in, are we kind of in the mix? Like, you know, is our 2 million just like other clients that come in? And it really depends as well, because it depends on what you spend.
Well, if you have $100 million and you're spending $10 million every year, then you've only got 10 years.
You're right.
You could have all the money in the world. If you're not spending it appropriately and it doesn't align, then you're going to run out.
So to give our viewers a decent idea of what you might want to have saved, and again, this varies.
Yeah.
Typically, we see a lot of anywhere from $1 million to $3 million.
Yep.
And usually, for most people, when you add in Social Security, maybe some rental income, maybe some annuities or pensions, and then $1 to $3 million on top of those sources, it's usually enough for people to live comfortably in retirement.
Okay.
Now, once you start getting up to 3, 4, 5 million or more, oftentimes, as long as you're not spending a lot, those amounts of monies in retirement can create for really nice surpluses, just extra monies that can be there for healthcare, for legacy, just that extra cushion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this couple that I was telling you about, where their expenses had gone from $7,000 to $13,000, well, 3 to 4% of a $5 million portfolio is $150,000 to $200,000 a year of interest income on top of their Social Security and everything like that. And so they would be able to create a surplus, excess income in retirement on top of what they need.
They were in good shape. Yeah.
It's a really good place to be.
You mentioned, though, this thing where he had met with you a few years back. They had met with you a few years back, and they said 7,000. Now, in just a few years, a lot of things have changed.
Almost double.
The daughter is living out of town. Is that what you're saying? I think the kids live out of town. The
granddaughter,
the grandbaby showed up. The cat got sick.
More trips to their vacation home in Cape Cod. Hey,
prices of eggs are what they are in gas. Here's the thing.
Exactly.
So thinking about that case scenario, how often should we be revisiting our plan to continue to ensure that it does align, that we are still in lockstep with our goals?
So I would say if you're 5 years or less away from retirement, or at least 5 years in, so at that 10-year period there,
that window,
I would say at least several times a year. At least
several is two to four, once a quarter,
2 to 4,
twice a year?
2 to 4 is ideal.
Okay.
2 to 3 maybe, right? Because then not a lot can happen. But if you're not going, or if you are going a year or more without talking to somebody, a lot can change.
Yeah.
And so, that's what happened with this couple over the last few years. They went from 7 to 13,000 in an income need. That's drastic. And thank God they've got a sizable portfolio of $5 million.
Yeah.
Now, everyone doesn't need 5 million. You might be single, you might be married. Your Social Security and pensions might cover all the bills, and then everything you've saved is just gravy and sits on top of that. And that's an ideal place to be.
Right.
So hopefully that helps our viewers to kind of get a better understanding of what they might need to have saved, and all the other things, or some of the things, to consider and look out for as you're approaching and entering into retirement.
I think a lot of investors and savers are pretty smart, understanding that we need to max out our 401ks, TSPs, IRAs. We know we need to have an understanding, at least an awareness of what we're spending, what goes out every month, what we need to have covered. The thing that we talk about all the time also, people want to know how much money they need, and they just don't have an income plan. And the lack of awareness that's what they need. It's like your 401k is not a retirement plan.
That's
it's
right.
It's just a savings vehicle.
That's right.
So I think that's the one thing that people need to really have awareness on, is the idea of having a proper plan in place. Ask yourself, do you know where your income will be coming from every month, every year after you leave the working world? If you don't if you can't confidently say yes to that question, then you probably don't have the right income plan, if any, in place. And at Abish Financial Services, they're here to help you create your own income plan, customized to you, your goals, your savings, what you want to do in these years ahead. So find us at theretirementkey.com. You can also click on the links we got posted in the show notes. Let's get to work helping you with your retirement income plan.